My lords, today we're going to address all the new technologies that we have identified psionic empires have acquired from the Shroud, from jump drive technology to weapons, even their individual patrons' symbols of power. But let's begin with psionic auras. It appears, my lords, that each of the four major patrons, both greater patrons and an occasional special entity, can provide their psionic followers the ability to produce a psionic aura. An empire that has achieved a certain level of accord with a domain will unlock the ability to produce and propagate this psionic aura. My telepaths tell me this is effectively allowing some of the Shroud's power to leak back into the material realm, emitted from where your psionic population is concentrated. These auras provide passive benefits to you and your allies and hinder your enemies. If you haven't made a covenant with an entity, your aura will reflect the nature of the domain for which you have the greatest accord. This stage is available upon reaching a certain level of attunement with an entity, 500 to be exact, and upon forming a covenant or rejecting all covenants to forge your own path, the psionic aura intensification, the second tier of technology, will become available to research. Several major and greater patrons provide the foundation for your aura, but minor patrons also have the ability to add to the aura's power overall. So, what makes the auras grow? Well, initially, auras will spread from planets where you have psionic population on them. These auras will affect all fleets and all systems that it occupies. With the second tier of technology, the aura can also spread to other star systems where you don't have psionic population. This spread is increased and affected by the number of psionic population you have, their overall happiness, priest output, if you have a psionic governor or not, and the number of shrouded worlds in the system. Specific to the end of the cycle, the aura is also spread and increased by the presence of military fleets. When two auras collide, the stronger aura will eat away at the weaker one until the stronger one takes it over. So let's look at some of the different aura effects that we have access to. We'll begin with the Composer. The aura of the Composer will increase sublight speed, population growth, mechanical population speed assembly, and monthly organic population growth multiplier increase. It likes growth. It will also increase unity from naturally occurring blockers on your planets. On hostile empires, it will reduce their fleet sublight speed and reduce their planetary build speed. It will have similar effects on friendly empires as it would on your own empire, like all the other auras, just not quite to the same extent or strength. The Eater's aura will increase friendly ship fire rate and increase combat disengagement chance, as well as stability per soldier job. On enemies, it will decrease enemy ship fire rate, army damage, and their army morale. The aura of Souls, which belongs to the Cradle, will also provide ship fire rate increases, as well as stability and unity increases. Ship fire rate perhaps being a little bit odd for the so-called friendly patron. Nevertheless, it will also decrease enemy ship fire rate and planetary stability. The Instrument. The aura of Desire will increase ship hull and ship armor points, meanwhile decreasing colony ascension costs and decreasing strategic resource building upkeep costs. On enemies, it will decrease their hull and armor, while increasing their population's upkeep. The Elusive Whisper. The aura of the Whispers will increase tracking and research station output while reducing researcher upkeep. On hostile empires, it will decrease their ship evasion and increase upkeep for their own researchers. The End of the Cycle. The End of the Cycle's aura is both glorious to behold and incredibly dangerous, for its enemies of course. For its own empire, it will decrease ship upkeep and increase research station output, mining station output, and resources from jobs. The effect, like all of the other auras, will of course scale with intensification. The negative effects it has on hostile forces will reduce stability, increase upkeep from jobs, and do monthly hull damage to non-orbiting ships, which is brutal. The last aura to discuss is the Dreamer. Now, the aura of the Dreamer is shockingly powerful. It appears to only be available to a specific empire, the enemies of the Mind Wardens, who summon this creature from the Shroud. The aura of the Dreamer will have dramatic effects on enemy ships, reducing ship fire rate, shield strength, and evasion, and should you let this aura seep into your systems, it will decrease resources from jobs while increasing upkeep and build time. Be extremely careful with this one. So that covers all of the auras, but the important question you may be asking is, well, how do you stop them? The answer is Shroud Seals. Shroud Seals are accessible to non-psionic empires via the Mind Wardens, who for a small price will give you access to the psionic suppression technology. This will unlock a building, a psionic suppressor, which will protect your planet, and a megastructure called a Shroud Seal. These sophisticated machines will emit low-frequency waves capable of counteracting psionic energy, thereby dissipating and eventually nullifying psionic auras. For non-psionic empires, this is the route you need to take. Remember, if you're psionic, the Mind Wardens won't talk to you, since they really don't like you. So you'll have to fight fire with fire and combat the enemy auras with your own aura. But for all non-psionic empires, Shroud Seals are the way to protect yourself. So now we've addressed auras, let's move on and address some of the additional fleet technology that the Shroud has gifted us, and we'll start with the Psionic Disruptors. These highly advanced disruptors fire a powerful lance of psionic energy through enemy hulls, allowing for the targeted disabling of hostile weaponry. Psionic Disruptors are perhaps the most potent short-range weapon in our galaxy. Psionic Disruptors do more damage than their non-psionic counterpart, the Phase Disruptor. To be precise, they do approximately 26.5% more damage on average per hit, which is a significant increase. They have the same base statistics otherwise, including the ability to penetrate all armor and shields, but they have a party piece. They also apply on-hit effects, which reduces enemy ship fire rate by 20% for 10 days, which is a significant debuff to apply onto enemy fleets. I suspect these psionic weapons will dominate the galaxy. Psionic Lightning comes next. By establishing a temporary psionic connection between one ship and another, a direct charge of mental power can be discharged to devastating effect. Such raw energy is capable of confusing ship systems and influencing the minds of the crew within. Psionic Lightning are a little bit like large disruptors, or perhaps a more advanced version of Cloud Lightning, though it still has quite a short range for a large weapon type, 0 to 70 units. Psionic Lightning will penetrate all armor and shields like a disruptor. This weapon, however, is powerful. It delivers twice the damage than that of Cloud Lightning, and furthermore, on hit it has a chance to terrify enemy ships for 5 to 10 days. This weapon is extremely powerful. It is somewhat let down by its short range, but given its increase in damage and overall effect, it will be extremely interesting to see how this plays out in galactic combat. Psionic Bombers. These small and nimble craft specialize in delivering concentrated payloads of psionic energy. The larger the target, the greater the resonance its explosions can achieve. Psionic Bombers are essentially improved strike craft, also known as Tier 2 strike craft in terms of basic damage output, but they have a key property. They do 50% more damage multiplied by ship size, and this is key. Versus smaller ships, a little bit like torpedoes, these bombers will be less effective, but against larger ships such as cruisers and battleships and the like, they will do 50% increased damage times the ship size, so an extra 400% damage, equaling a total of 500% damage to a battleship or 900% damage to a Titan. These will be fantastic at fighting enemies such as Satana, the Synthetic Queen. Zro Launchers. These highly concentrated pellets of Zro can be dispersed through enemy shields unabated as they shift through multiple realities. Once contact is made with a physical object, the effects are exponential in devastation. The effects of this weapon are serious indeed, though they do take quite a long time to reload. Nevertheless, Zro launchers are 114% more powerful than neutron launchers. 114%. The Shroud is not messing about. Further to this, they penetrate 50% of all armor and shields and do 50% increased damage to armor and 75% increased damage to hull. They do, however, do slightly less damage to shields. But what's more, this weapon type also does increased damage to larger vessels, but rather than the 50% increase per ship size like the bomber we just discussed, this does 100% increased damage per ship size, meaning it's hitting battleships for 900% its base damage, and the Titans at 1700% its base damage. This brings a new meaning to raining hellfire. Psionics are also getting access to improved jump drives, better targeting matrices, the best shield arrays in the entire galaxy, and the best cloaking technology in the entire galaxy. Psionics are really thriving. The final item to note is that each patron has its own mark. These are symbols that we've seen Psionic empires adorn not just their vessels with, but their individuals as well. These are the Mark of the Cradle. This gives an increase to diplomatic weight by 50% and shield hit points by 10%. The Mark of the Instrument will increase sublight speed by 25%. The Mark of the Eater will increase orbital bombardment damage by 20% and chance to hit by 5. The Mark of the Composer will increase daily hull regen rate and daily armor regen rate by 10 and 15% respectively. And the Mark of the Whisperer increases evasion by 15%. That rounds up the new technology available from the Shroud in our galaxy. If you want to learn more about the Shroud, I suggest you click the video on screen now.